and gentlemen, please welcome out Lucas Allen!
Thank you. Thank you. We are going to have some fun tonight. I have a couple of games, actually, that I'd like to play with you as the audience. And I am a mentalist, which means I kind of read minds, not in the way that you might think. I sort of read people. And I'm going to be using a few of you to help me out tonight. So I'm not going to embarrass anybody. Not too bad, I don't think. Before we get started, though, I need to find a trustworthy person. I have a little envelope with a nice big question mark on it. Let's see. You right there. You. Hi.
Hi.
What is your name?
Urfa.
Urfa.
Yes.
You look trustworthy. Urfa, I wonder if you could just name any two-digit number that comes to mind.
Okay. Name it out loud?
Yeah.
72.
72. It's not a real pencil. Magic trick. 72. Huh. You, ma'am, you look like a trustworthy person. I had high hopes for you, Urfa. Could you name any two-digit number that comes to mind, please?
56.
56. Why'd you say 56?
I don't know.
Scientifically, there is one number that's proven to show that there's trustworthiness in a person. Or if I had high hopes for you. But could you go ahead and read that out loud? Write what I wrote in the back of the envelope.
Trustworthy people usually say 72.
They do say 72. Big round of applause for Urfa. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Urfa, in fact, your job right now is to be the holder of the envelope. So if you could hold that. It's a simple job, but it's very, very important. It's going to be important later on in the show. So don't open it. Don't let anybody touch it. Don't let anybody come close to it. If anybody tries to snag it from you, just, slap them. You look like you want to do that. That's good. One more thing before we get started. I'm going to need you, and you to pay special attention during the show, okay? I don't want you to feel any pressure about this at all. Just sit back, relax, let your subconscious just take it all in. Good? Great. So why are we here tonight? We are here because I love to play games. I love board games, I love card games, I love party games, whatever. I came from a big family, and growing up, we would play a whole lot of games together. And I realized at a very, very young age that I could read people very, very well. And it gave me sort of an advantage when I came to playing games with my brothers and sister. You see, we would vacation every summer at the Lake of the Ozarks, which is near Branson, Missouri. Anybody ever been to Branson before? Oh, good. Yeah, one of you. Woohoo! So we would vacation there, and we would always stay at this resort called the Lucky 13. It was an old, rundown resort. We would rent out the biggest cabin that they had, and this place was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen. It was painted this horrible popcorn kernel mustardish color, and the name Lucky 13 was spelled out on the side of the siding in rope, just nailed right on there with a little noose for the Y. Very classy, very classy. But we weren't there because it looked good. The inside is really what made it worthwhile. It had this killer kitchen and enough room for bodies to be laid out everywhere. So every day, and there was a lot of us, mind you. Every day we would spend the days out on the lake skiing, and every night we would sit home and play games and eat cookies until we all fell asleep. And one of the games that we loved to play the most was Pictionary. Anybody ever played Pictionary before? Yeah. There was a TV show called Win, Lose, or Draw. You have, good. Pictionary was great. It was loud. It was exciting. Everybody could play together. And so we played it often. One night, I was out at the arcade while they were playing a game of Pictionary. When I came back, they were done, and I looked at the board, and I realized that just by looking at the drawings on the board, I could figure out which of my family members had drawn each drawing, just by the pictures. My family was amazed. I was amazed. And I hope that you will be amazed too. Let's play some Pictionary. I have some Pictionary pads here. I use generally 3 men for this, so I wonder if, sir, you could pass it down to this sir right here. Thank you very much. And let's go with you in the back there. You look like you'd have a good time with this. I can get you a pad right in the back. And let's see, one more. I'll go with Nathan. Sorry, Robert. What I want you to do in just a second is I'm going to turn my back, and I'm going to have you draw a picture. Now, the picture can be anything at all, just something that takes maybe 30 seconds or less to draw. It doesn't have to be a work of art. When you're finished with it, don't tear it off the pad. Otherwise, people can see through the paper and we get way ahead of ourselves. Turn it over on your lap, and I'll tell you what to do. So go ahead and do that now. While they're drawing, I'll just explain to everybody, the reason I generally use guys for this is because men are more susceptible to revealing themselves through practical activities, like doing something, like drawing. Whereas women, on the other hand, they're more mysterious by nature. So if you want to know what a woman is thinking, it's not going to be revealed in her actions. You're going to have to look at her emotions, and generally, that'll be in her eyes. Everybody finished? If you're finished, say yes.
Yes.
We've got
Yes.
2 that are finished. Okay, 3 that are
Yes.
finished. Good. Are they face down? Good. I'm going to turn
Yes.
around. If you could go ahead and pass all of your pads right to this gentleman right here in the front row, and keep them face down. I don't want to see what's on the pad. Keep them face down. And make sure nobody looks at what you've written as well. Do you have them all down?
Yep.
Shuffle them up face down so you don't have you have no idea whose pad is whose.
Okay.
All right. Got that? And on the count of 3, everybody throw up their pencils. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. All right. So the idea here is that just by looking at the picture, I'll be able to know who drew which drawing. And when you do that, oh, wow, look at that. That's perfect, actually. That's perfect. This is great. This person drew the picture a little bit off-center. It's not quite in the center of the page, which means this person has a slightly quirky sense of humor. It's a rather large picture, in fact, and it means this person has a healthy sense of self. He took up a lot of the page. Doesn't necessarily mean this person is egotistical. It could, but I couldn't tell that from this. This is also an interesting picture for a man. It's a range, so this person probably has a bit of creativity, who likes to cook. I'm going to say that this one goes with... Robert, is that yours?
That's mine.
Definitely the picture of a magician. Very good. Thank you. You have that. Thank you. So you get the idea. Next one. Oh, very, very good. Now this is interesting. This doesn't always happen. This person got the pad this way. This is obviously the orientation of the pad, yes? But decided to draw it this way. That means this person is a little bit off-center. Might be somewhat of a creative thinker. It's a bike, obviously. The bike is moving this way. This way generally denotes the past, whereas this way would denote the future. So I would say this person probably has a more rich past and isn't thinking about the future as much at this point in their life. And just based on that, I know we've got 2 people left, and you're just slightly older than this person here. I'm going to say that this is probably yours, yes? Great, very good, thank you. So we have 1 left. Obviously, I know this is yours. What's your name?
Rob.
Rob, good, Rob. I'd like to try something a little bit different with you, Rob, if I might. What I would like to do is, I want to ask you a couple questions, just get a quick idea of maybe who you are. So really quickly, Rob, what do you do for a living?
I'm a student.
You're a student. Okay, you're a student. And Rob, how does the color pink make you feel?
I have pink football gloves.
You have pink football gloves. Good. Okay, what is your favorite color?
Orange.
Orange. Good. If you could just picture in your mind what you drew on your pad for just a moment. You're a student. Favorite color is orange. You have pink football gloves. I mean, this seems obvious to me, but I'm not a very good artist myself. I mean, yeah, that's what I got. That's what I got. So for the very first time, what was it that you drew?
Messed up basketball, I would say.
It was a messed up basketball. Very good. Football gloves, orange. These were obviously clues. Yours has 3 lines there. Mine actually has 3 lines total, but I think they're pretty close. Rob, there's your receipt, sir. You know, I loved playing Pictionary with the family. It was one of my favorite things to do. But one of the things, I had a little game that I used to play with myself when we would be playing these games at home. And I would always kind of keep track of the number of games that I won. And when I did, I rewarded myself with a cookie. Now, it would be sort of rude to eat in front of you all right now, I'm sure. Would you? No, you wouldn't. It's all right. I'll put it right over here and go on with the show. Now, for me, Urfa, how's the envelope? Is it good?
Yes.
Everything's great? Perfect. For me, the granddaddy of all board games growing up was, it was the perfect game for somebody, for an adolescent boy. It had mystery, it had intrigue, had a bloody murder. I mean, what more could an adolescent boy want, right? Except, you know, girlfriend. Friends. A life. It's Clue! Clue. Definitely one of my favorite games growing up. Let me set the stage a little bit here. The year is 1926, and 6 strangers show up at the Tudor Mansion in Hampshire, England, during a massive thunderstorm. Put these guys in here. The 6 strangers, of course, Mrs. White, Professor Plum, Colonel Mustard, Mrs. Peacock, Mr. Green, Mrs. Scarlet, and that was it. The mansion had many rooms, library, dining room, conservatory, many, many rooms. And during dinner one night, the lights went out. The thunderstorm raged. Somebody screams, a blood-curdling scream, and when the lights come back up, the maid comes running in, and she's screaming because the owner of the mansion, Mr. Body, has been murdered. So for the rest of the evening, our 6 strangers are accusing each other, trying to figure out who committed the murder, where they did it, and with what weapon. Could you do a favor and just shuffle these cards up? Again, one of my favorite games to play as a kid. There was only one problem. Nobody would play it with me. Now, admittedly, I wasn't a very good winner, so oftentimes people didn't want to play these games. But I've come up with rules since that I think everybody involved is going to have a really, really good time. So 3 of you tonight are going to conspire together to kill Mr. Body. And we already know who those 3 suspects are. Suspect number 1, suspect number 2, yes, and suspect number 3. You feeling good?
Yes.
You ready to kill somebody?
No.
Don't worry, don't worry. This isn't Monopoly. You don't have to go to jail. So I'm going to give you each some of these cards. I do have some envelopes. Sorry. Oh, they're up here. Sorry. With each of the different types of cards, we've got crime scenes, we've got weapons, and we've got the killer. You're each going to get a smattering of cards. What I would like you to do is go ahead and shuffle the cards up without looking at them, and you're going to think of a crime scene in just a moment, okay? So it'll be one of the room cards. What I would like you to do is shuffle up your cards without looking. I want you to think of one of the weapon cards, and I'd like you to pick our killer. So shuffle them up. I'm going to turn my back again in a second because I don't want anybody to accuse me of looking. You're going to go through the cards and just let your intuition guide you, okay? And this happened the last show. If because of the shuffle one of the cards isn't in there for you, if you don't have any cards to choose from, just let me know and we'll reshuffle, okay? So I'm going to turn my back. Go ahead and look through. Don't let anybody else see who you're picking. Once you've found a card, go ahead and slip it right into your envelope. Set the envelope down and let me know when you're finished. You don't have to set it down on the table, you can keep it. I heard that. Is everybody done?
Yeah.
Yes.
We got one more person waiting, okay. And you're thinking of, yes, you should have a room, a killer, and a weapon in the middle. Are we good?
Yes.
Great, I'm going to turn around. So if we could all have you pass your leftover cards to this gentleman right here. So you can go ahead and just shuffle them up and hold on to them for just a second, okay? Now, a good investigator, somebody who is actually solving crimes, kind of like the mentalist on TV, they have different techniques that they will genuinely use to try to figure out clues to solve the mystery. And I'm going to try to use 3 of those techniques tonight. And we'll start with you. So you've got a location, a room in your envelope. I want you to sort of picture it. A lot of times when you're dealing with people who have seen or saw an accident or a crime, but it was a while ago, they can't remember everything that they've seen. So a good investigator will have them visualize the scene again. They'll have to close their eyes and think about it, and their subconscious will reveal clues that, that they may not have thought of in their conscious state. So I'd like you to go ahead and, you're already closing your eyes. That's, you know, I didn't think I was putting everybody to sleep. But so good. I want you to close your eyes for me, okay? And I want you to go, just picture yourself in a vast mansion, in the grand hall. The thunder is cracking outside, there's lightning occasionally, and you're the only one there, okay? So I want you to turn left or right, whichever direction feels right to you, into the room that you've chosen, the room that's in your envelope right now. Okay, I want you to go ahead and see yourself in that room and picture it vividly, okay? All right, think about whether the room is mostly wooden, mostly glass or metal. All right. Think about whether it feels warm or cold to you. If you were actually going to kill somebody, I want you to think about what you might have used as a weapon, all right? Not that you're going to think of a weapon, obviously, but I really, okay. I'm gonna make, yeah, I think so. You can open your eyes. I'm gonna leave that right here. Thank you, you did well. Would you like to see what I wrote? You'll have to wait till later. So you're thinking of a weapon. Now, another technique that investigators will often use is lie detectors. Now, I don't have a lie detector tonight, but the best FBI agents, investigators, will use what they call micro-expressions on a person's face. Have anybody ever seen the show Lie to Me? That's a show about a guy that actually does do this, and it's based on a real person and his studies. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about your weapon. Now, this is going to be a little macabre. Just go with me for a second. I want you to think about the weapon that you've chosen, the weapon that's in your envelope, and just imagine yourself killing somebody with it, okay? No, not your wife. Sorry, it was an easy joke. I had to go for it. Now, I want you to look at me straight in the eyes. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and for every question I ask you, I want you to say no. Does that make sense? You're supposed to say no. Good, very good, good. Okay, so I want you to think about what you're doing. Think about the victim. Think about the weapon itself. Sorry, really visualize it. Really visualize. Close your eyes, close your eyes. Okay. Are you cold?
No.
Is what you're holding on to hard?
No.
Is it bloody?
No.
Do your hands hurt?
No.
Are you getting a good workout?
No.
Well, what's the worth then, huh? One more thing. Are there other people around?
No.
Are you scared?
No.
Okay. Keep your eyes closed just for a second. I'm going to say, oh, man. Is what you're holding on to soft?
No.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Open up your eyes. You did great. One last person, one last card. It's the killer this time. Now, we've all seen this on TV. We've seen somebody commit a crime, and in order to figure out who this person is, they set up a lineup of suspects. This is going to be our lineup tonight. We've got Miss Scarlet, Colonel Mustard, Mr. Green, used to be known as Reverend Green, for those of you that are triveists. And what I want you to do is, you've got the person in your mind. Don't look down. Do you know where in the lineup your person is?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm going to plant tiny flowers tonight. No. I'm going to cover up
I'm allowed to look now, right?
our You can look now. Yes, you can look. Now pay close attention for me, will you? Do you still know where yours is?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to have a situation here where you know which one it is, and yet nobody else could possibly know which one it is. Good? I'm going to go ahead and line these up in numerical order. Actually, yeah, we'll do that. We'll put this here, this here. There we go. This is what I'm going to want you to do. I want you to do this just twice for me. I'm going to have you start with 1 and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a very slow, deliberate manner. Try not to give anything away while this happens, okay? I want you to do it twice in a row. You know what? I'm not going to use my notes for this one, okay? So take a deep breath. Good. I may ask you for a third time, just so you know. Okay, go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hold on. Go back. We had a cough.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. Second time, do it much, much slower. I'm going to watch you this time.
1, 2.
Stop. Go ahead.
Continuing. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Close your eyes. You can open them. All right. There's 3 numbers left. We have 4, 5, and 1. Please say 4,
4,
5,
5,
1.
1.
Say 4,
4,
4,
4,
5.
5.
Okay. Very good. Give him a big round of applause for that. I realize sometimes it's difficult to bring on that sort of concentration while you're being watched and everybody's listening in, but you did a very, very good job. In fact, you all 3 did a very, very good job. I would like to see how we did here. So I'd like to make a formal accusation here. I'd like to make a formal accusation. I think that Mr. Body was killed. Can you reveal for the very first time where it was?
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. Were you thinking of a knife earlier?
What was that?
Were you thinking of a knife earlier when you were visualizing?
Yes.
I thought so. But that's not, obviously that's not the weapon that we were going to use because you were the weapon person, right? I got a very distinct feeling on that very, very last question. What was it that you had used to kill Mr. Body?
The rope.
The rope. And finally, it was done in the kitchen with the rope by
Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. How's the envelope? It's time. I want to reveal something right now. After the show, when we're done filming, a few of you, not all of you, a few of you come up and say, how did you do that? People want to know how I did it. So I'm going to tell you how I did it. I cheat. When I play games, I cheat. Yes, I am good at reading people. That is something that I can do. But I cheat. You see, at the very, very beginning of the show, I was telling you about my family. Go ahead and open up the envelope and just take out the contents and hold it. I was telling you about my family, and if you remember back, there were certain things that I said in a way that was very descriptive, so I was hoping that you would visualize where we were, okay? So the very first thing I said was we would stay at the Lucky 13 Resort. We'd stay at this horrible cabin that was painted a popcorn kernel mustardish color. Do you remember that? And then I said, and spelled out on the side of the building in rope was the Lucky 13 with a noose for the Y. But I said we weren't there for the outside, right? We were there because of the inside. And it had what? A killer kitchen with enough room for bodies to be laid out everywhere. And you all laughed. And just before I told you that, I asked you to pay special attention. And I knew that I had about 30 to 40 seconds for everything I was about to say to really, really come in and sink deep. So I made a prediction before we started. You've been holding on to that prediction the entire time. Can you give me, there's 2 slips of paper in there. Can you give me the larger paper, the one marked number 2? Yes. Inside every clue game, you find little check marks. These things you can take notes as you're trying to go through the game to make sure that you can figure out who was the killer. I filled out one of those tick sheets before I started. Colonel Mustard with the rope in the kitchen. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You guys have been a great audience. Have a great night. Thank you.